Welcome to the Women's Health Community Podcast. We're here to remove the pressure of the gym bro culture within the health and fitness community. So if you're a wannabe muscle mummy like me, a Pilates princess, in your running era, or simply a woman who values her health and fitness, this podcast is for you. Join us each week as we chat with inspiring and motivating individuals from all walks of life, sharing their personal journeys and practical tips for living a healthier and more fulfilling life. All right, guys, welcome back to the Women's Health Community Podcast, episode number 4 and the first episode of 2025. So happy New Year. If you're tuning in here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you rate the podcast, you do all the things to help us grow because 2025 is going to be epic. So episode number 4, it was only fitting that I get my 4th favorite person in the world to come in.
Number 4. I'd hope I'd be top 2, but anyways.
Number 4. Sure, that's a good number.
That's pretty savage. Anyways,
That's like if
who's in front of me?
Anyway. I feel like this episode's going to be so rogue, but that's so fine. So if you don't know anything about me, you're new to my world, or you are someone who is very invested in my world, I love you, first of all. But you would probably have expected this episode to be the first one because it is my best friend and probably one of the biggest baddies the industry has. Introducing Kate Morris. Woo!
Woo! That was the best intro I've ever gotten.
I've been told I'm really good at intros.
Yeah, that was really good.
So, I mean, you don't have a dating profile, but like if you ever want that just clipped out, I'll give it to you and you can just like play that. Post that.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Are you cut that you weren't first guest?
Yeah, look, you are on my hit list for 2025 now.
Oh, slay.
Yeah.
Go me.
No, I'm kidding.
Alrighty. Well, we start off with a couple of questions where it's the first thing that comes into your mind. You have to give me the answer to. You can't dwell on it. If you dwell on it, you're cancelled.
Oh, pressure is on, girls.
What is one non-negotiable in your day?
One non-negotiable, an
You
hour.
dwelled.
Oh my God, I really don't even get a second to think. Shit. 1 hour outdoor walk, non-negotiable, always.
Every
First
single
thing
day.
in the morning.
Love that. What is your death row meal? Can I say what I think it would be?
Yeah.
I think it would be that South African.
Oh, oh my God, I can't remember the name of it.
To
I
be fair,
haven't
every
had that
time you
in
do it,
so
you tell
long.
Armand about it.
I actually can't remember the name of it.
Isn't it Pradavas?
I think you're trying to say his last name that's similar to his last name.
Oh, oops.
No, I think my death row meal would be something Japanese. Probably
Yeah.
edamame.
That's a,
That sounds really depressing, but
yeah. Are you dying?
delicious.
What was your dream career when you were growing up?
Either being a vet or being a teacher, which is
Okay.
weird.
Okay. And then the 4th question is different for every single guest. Your one was actually quite hard because one, I know everything about you and I'm like, I wanted to make it fun. So we've gone with a fuck, marry, kill situation.
Oh, okay.
So we have Armand, your fiance.
Yeah.
We have Jason Statham.
The love of my life, yep.
Or I don't know who this is, but I had to Google it because I know that this is something that you like. Charlie Hunnam.
I don't know who that is.
He's from Sons of Anarchy, and you said that was your favorite
Oh,
show,
yeah,
and now
yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying
yeah.
you don't know who that is.
So fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah.
Charlie, Jason,
Armand.
Armand. Marry Armand, because we're already on the way to doing that.
You're like a year off.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck Jason, kill Charlie.
Poor Charlie.
Yeah, Jason's a daddy.
Honestly,
He's a daddy. He's like 50. Have
Can
you
we
seen
add that to my list of icks that that's your celebrity crush?
What do you mean? Have you seen him? If you guys are listening, you need
Oh,
to
I'm the
Google this
beekeeper.
man. He's gorgeous. And he's like in his 50s. I'm pretty sure he's like 52 and he looks that good.
Fair.
I'm trying to age like Jason.
Fair. You do you, boo-boo. All right. All right. For people who have been living under a rock and don't know who Kate Morris is, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Kate. I am by trade a qualified nutritionist, personal trainer, online coach and business mentor.
That was a really quick synopsis.
Yeah, I guess that's more like what I do. Who I am as a person, you'll
Tell us.
get to know throughout today's podcast.
Look, we should preface now, if there's one person who could like bring me to tears, make me laugh, and then bully me, but then like fill me with so much love in 1 hour conversation, it's Kate.
And I have the same with you.
Slay.
I feel like we keep each other grounded.
Definitely. We're getting too far into my
Yeah, sorry,
questions.
go.
Stop. Okay, so going on a little bit more about who you are and things like that, like tell us about like what your health and fitness journey was growing up and a bit more about like who Kate is. Not so much Kate career-wise, but Kate like human, the girl, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, perfect. So I guess like my health journey started from a place of being pretty underweight. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm nearly 6 foot tall. I'm quite a tall girl. And for majority of like my middle teens, early adulthood, I weighed about 42 kilos. So for somebody nearly 6 foot, that is very severely underweight. Now, it was never like an eating disorder kind of thing. It was just purely that I didn't understand or have any baseline education around nutrition. So eating 1 meal a day for me was just normal. I was a super active kid. I played lots of sport. I used to dance when I was little as well. So I would just like eat 1 meal and then like burn a fuckload of calories without even realizing it. So for me, when I got into the gym and kind of why I decided to, I guess, study nutrition in the first place was because I wanted to gain weight and I was sick of being like the weak little sister. So I grew up with a brother, and obviously growing up with a brother, you're just like bullied and like WWE wrestling moves on you 24/7.
John Cena.
Yeah, like literally my whole childhood was just like me getting punched in the face and like just like you're with boys, right? Like I grew up with boys.
Yeah.
So I always was like the weak little sister, and I really wanted to like get stronger. So I started going to the gym. I had a really terrible experience with a personal trainer, like the first personal trainer I ever hired. And then I was put off the gym and I didn't return for like 2 years. Then I decided, you know what? I want to get into weight training. I want to feel strong. I'm sick of feeling fatigued and having no energy. And that's when kind of like my weight gain journey, I say in quotations, begun. And I think it took me maybe like, I can't even remember now, like 5 years to put on 20 kilos.
Yeah, wow. Do you feel like you had a lot of people concerned for you in terms of like your being underweight, or was it kind of just like the normal and no one really said anything? And it was like, I mean, like social media now, or I don't even know so more so now. I feel like thick is in now, but like once upon a time, skinny and being lean and being small was like cool in the trend. Like, do you feel like there was concern around that, or do you think it was more just like brushed under a rug and being like, oh, like she's just doing the normal?
Yeah. So I think we need to remember that I grew up in the era of Tumblr.
Oh,
So if anyone is like young listening to this, you probably wouldn't know the Tumblr era, but the Tumblr era was literally like collarbones, having a thigh gap, having like, you know, knobbly knees. Like that was like the trendy thing, right? Being very thin was very trendy. So I, from my peers at school, never got any kind of, I mean, I was bullied for the way that I looked. Like I've got very skinny and thin legs. So people would just like make fun of the way that I look and like whatever. But I never had any like negative connotations from my peers being like, oh, you need to gain weight, you're really skinny. But it did come from teachers.
Okay. And what about family?
Family, no, because I guess we need to understand like my parents watched how much food I ate. So it was like I would eat 1 meal at school, but then when I was at home, I'd have like a normal serving of dinner.
Yeah, okay.
Like it was never anything that was like concerning for them, until one year my teacher called my mum and was like, we're really concerned about her weight. And then my mum would like freaked out about it because she's like, oh, maybe she is really underweight, and she was like trying to feed me more food at dinner, and I just eat it because I was like, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But no, I've never had any sort of like eating disorder or anything. My parents didn't really ever say anything. Also as well, my brother is 6'4" and was always very lean and thin. Genetically, my dad's like 6'2", always lean and thin. My mum's like the complete opposite. Like she's like a tiny little girl, but yeah, they never really had anything. And my peers didn't really care, but teachers were concerned.
Yeah. It's super interesting to me. Like it's probably one of my like most interesting things about like our friendship is that we've both come from really different starting points. Like you were considered underweight and I was considered obese. Like I was diagnosed as obese. But then the differences in how we were treated was severely different as kids growing up through high school. You were bullied for having knobbly knees.
Yeah.
And I was bullied because I didn't actually fit into my school dress.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so interesting that teachers were concerned about underweight, but there was no concern for overweight. So
and it's interesting you say that, sorry to cut you off, but when this teacher approached my parents and was like, oh, we're really concerned about her weight, it was also like doctors were really concerned too. So probably too much information for everyone, but I didn't get my period until I was 17.
That's late.
That is late. Like all of my friends were getting their periods around like maybe 13 to 15, right? 17.
That's crazy.
And I remember going to the doctor because my mum was concerned. She was like, oh, that's really interesting. The doctor was like, it's because you're so tiny, underweight. Like your body doesn't have technically enough insulation to be able to produce a period.
Yeah.
So that's when I started kind of gaining a little bit more weight, and then I got my period and it was fine.
Yeah. Do you feel like you look back on that phase and you're like, you see things that you're like, what the fuck was that? Or was it just like a normal, it was just normal?
I look back now with like the level of education that I have with nutrition and like, you know, my energy levels and my strength and all the things that I have now. And I definitely look back and go like, girl, you had an up and go. That was your only
Yeah.
meal for a whole day at school.
Yeah.
8 hours of school, you'd have an up and go. And
Mhm.
it was not any like I said, it wasn't an eating disorder or anything. It was just like
The
I
lack
didn't
of
like
education, yeah.
sandwiches. So like I wasn't eating sandwiches at school. That's just like not my thing.
Mm.
And I just had an up and go and that was it, whatever. Didn't think about it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Now it's like if I had an up and go for the whole day, I would be such an asshole.
you would be so hangry, and I genuinely would not speak to you.
I would be such an asshole. Yeah.
We're definitely those girls that's like, if you put us together for a whole day and there's more than 3 hours we haven't eaten,
Oh, game over.
I'll punch you in the face.
Yeah, game over. I need to eat like every 2.5 hours.
100%. But then now coming into like more so when you were studying and things like that, you were starting to gain weight by the time that you were studying, or did that kind of more so snowball from mid-studying?
I had started to gain weight. So I did a science degree for anyone who doesn't know and specialized or majored in exercise and sports science and nutrition. So once I started studying nutrition and when I had started gaining a little bit of weight from memory around that time, then I finished in 2016 and I got a job as a nutritionist clinically in like a healthcare clinic. Worked as a nutritionist there for a little bit and that's when I started falling in love with training. So I was really focused on fueling my body for performance, not necessarily under fueling my body.
Yep.
I got really interested in, you know, if I eat more protein, I'm going to gain more muscle mass, which leads to me getting stronger. If I put on weight, naturally, I'm going to be able to lift heavier in the gym. So I was really not fixated, but really focused on how do I feel over necessarily the way that I look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then coming into now, you've been a coach for 7 years.
I've had my business for six, coming on 7 years.
Yeah.
Actually, no, 2025, 7 years.
Yeah, 2025 is 5 years for me.
That's crazy.
Go us. We're going to celebrate. We'll throw a party. Coming into 7 years of coaching, do you feel like now there's other external pressures of how you look and how you act and how you train and all of that sort of stuff? Or do you feel like you're still very much in that fueling for how you perform more so than like, am I making sense? Like more so like, hold on, I've just completely blanked. So like now with coaching, are you like still in the same mindset of like eating more protein, training like that, but you don't feel so much pressure based on your body within the health and fitness industry?
Yeah, I couldn't give a fuck. I feel like a lot of coaches get into the industry and you get really sucked into, I need to have abs, I need to look a certain way. I train to look hot for myself, not for other people. And to be honest, I've actually never been like that. Like I never got into the industry and like quote unquote use my body as a way to get ahead or get clients. That's never been my thing. I've just always focused on how do I feel, overall health and also preventative, right? Like I think as I get older and I'm like nearly 30, which makes me want to die. Anyways, as I get older, I always think like preventative.
Yeah.
You know, like you move your body and you fuel your body now. So when you are 50, 60, 70, 80, you can still be active. You can still travel. You can still move around without any kind of, you know, serious, hopefully, injuries or illnesses.
Yeah. I definitely look at like my grandparents. I'm like, you can definitely tell which ones were active and were moving and which ones weren't. And I'm like, oh, like,
bro, I even look at my mum,
yeah,
right? I love her to death, right? But she is the most immobile person I have ever met. And she's not even, she's like 60.
Yeah.
She acts as if she's 80.
Yeah.
Because she's never, ever prioritized weight training or essentially eating enough protein or building any lean muscle mass to support her joints, right? So like watching her get down on the ground to pick something up, it's like she's like worried she's going to fall. I'm like, you're like in your early 60s. Like you should, like when you're 90, you should worry that you're going to fall.
Yeah. It's crazy as well. And I feel like social media is a blessing in that sense that like my mum did not know what the gym was or the whole concept. My mum's concept of the gym, I believe, was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like bodybuilding, massive steroid, like all of this thing. And it was like, well, no, like I'm actually just training to be strong and to be healthy and to be fit. But then you look at her and you're like, well, you're about to have your third knee replacement, hun. Like there's something missing. There's a missing link. So I look at that and I'm like, I will never, ever, ever, ever get to that point. And I think as well, it's just like so interesting that our generation is really big on strength training, but for the reasons of like, yeah, okay, aesthetics do come into play, but then also that preventative mindset where it's like, I'm going to train now so that come the time that I'm 60, 70, 80, and I have grandchildren, I'm going to be the coolest fucking grandma those kids have ever had.
Absolutely. It's also about like optimizing your health, right? Like I feel like a lot of people get into training, whether it's in the gym, whether it's Pilates, whether it's running, usually for an aesthetic reason, right? Like majority of people will start training because they want to lose weight or gain muscle mass to
there's
change the
nothing
look
wrong
of
with
their
that.
appearance. Fuck yeah. I love that. If you want to look hotter, if you want to lose weight, absolutely go for it. It's your life and you only live once. So I'm all about like optimizing your performance and being the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. But then I also think that it comes a point where if you stop heavily focusing on the aesthetic side of training and you focus on how you feel, more energy, less pains, aches, niggles, better sleep quality, overall like happiness, mental health, you will reap the rewards of the aesthetic side of things anyways.
100%. And I can definitely testify that to myself. Like definitely a heavy focus for me in 2024 was getting on stage. That was my first whole like 6 months of the year. And now ending towards the end of the year and coming into this new year, I was like more so focusing on my fuel. And I'm actually ending the year 10 kilos lighter than I did last year. But I didn't want to, like that wasn't the goal, but I'm like, I feel better. I can have a conversation. I can run this podcast. Imagine me doing this podcast in June. I would have been a brick wall and you would have been running my podcast. Like literally that's what it would have been. And I think I also am very sad when I see things online that you shouldn't be trying to achieve a fat loss goal, because I think for me, that's how this all started. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But then I also do agree in the sense that once you kind of go through that phase, and I think it's important to go through either a weight loss or a weight gain phase, depending on where you're at and your starting position. But once you switch to how I feel is more a priority to me than how I look and how I can show up, how I can be a wife, how I can be like walk my dog, how I can do all of these other things, it becomes so much more sustainable and life consuming for the right reasons. And I think that there's this whole shift of like, I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
And it's been really positive. And I think 2024 was a really big year for that. I think a lot of people kind of stripped away from the thigh gap and all of these things, and they want to be strong and they want to be lifting heavy and want to be eating well. And I think that that's a really positive trend.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we see continue into 2025.
I agree. I also think as well, like being overweight is not healthy.
No.
Being underweight is also not healthy. You need to be able to find a middle ground where you are in optimal health for yourself.
Yep.
And I think, look, like we could get onto the savage conversation of like the self-love movement, right? I am all for loving yourself any way that you want, right?
I think we definitely have similar views on this.
But if you need to wake up every day to convince yourself how much you love yourself, you don't love yourself.
100%.
And sometimes it's about looking in the mirror. And I know this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people listening, but looking in the mirror and having a little bit of self-honesty. If you don't like the way that you look and you want to change it, change it.
Yep. I think the self-love movement's definitely fallen into gaslighting. And it's definitely like, I'm the best. I don't need to change. I don't need to do this. I'm amazing. It's like, yes, you are amazing. You don't need to change, but also, are you actually happy and are you actually healthy? Or are you just showing up as this fake version of yourself that one day is going to crumble? Because how long can you sustain this whole fake persona of I'm the baddest bitch, but really you're actually like, oh, fuck, like I hate everything. Like whatever that looks like for you. But I think as well, it's gone, this self-love movement has gone into this gaslighting kind of phase, and I'm not about it, but I'm like,
and I think the self-love movement goes for like everything, right? Like whether you're overweight or underweight, I feel like you can fall into both categories. But it's like I said, if you have to wake up every day and fully convince yourself to love the way that you look or love yourself, it's like you're lying to yourself.
It shouldn't be a convincing thing.
No,
it should just be like,
it should
fuck
just
yeah,
be
I love
like,
myself.
Cool, it's there, it's done, I've done the work. But it's like if you're actively doing it all the fucking time, it's like something needs to change. And I'm a massive believer in like, it's actually okay if you want to change the way that you look. I think that's fine. I think social media spent a very long time falling into the, we need to love ourselves and love everybody and blah, blah, blah. And like, yes, whilst that's true to an extent, it's also like, we shouldn't be made to feel bad because we want to improve either the way that we look, the way that we perform, who we are as people.
Yep. And I think as well, it's like if you want to improve, and I think it's not bad. Like
No.
there was definitely a phase, and I don't know when that ended, and I'm glad that it's ended, but it was like, if you're trying to lose weight, and I copped some stuff for it because was obviously in the thick of a dieting phase, but it was like, well, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do anything.
But you know what? It's just people trying to sabotage you because they're jealous.
Everyone's jealous of me. What can I say?
No,
I'm
like
amazing.
literally.
Nah,
If,
I know what you're saying.
if you're doing something that's good for yourself, so
The
whether
people who
it
could never
is-
do it will be the ones saying these
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
So just say you have a massive weight loss transformation. Like think of Adele.
Yeah.
Adele the singer. Let's take this for a second. Adele the singer. She was overweight for a very big time in her career. She recently, and we can even talk about Lizzo as well. She recently lost a lot of weight. If you read the comments on her TikTok or her Instagram, she is getting body shamed for being overweight. So when she was overweight, she was body shamed for being overweight. She lost all of this weight, and now all of a sudden she's unrelatable. She's unrelatable. She's copping so much hate. Same with Lizzo. Lizzo was overweight. She lost a heap of weight recently, or she must be on Ozempic. I don't know if she is, whatever. But
I actually haven't seen her since she's lost weight.
yeah, she's lost weight, and she is copping hate left, right, and center for being overweight, for being underweight. So I think the main takeaway is like, whatever you do in your life, whether it's being successful in your career, whether it is losing weight, gaining weight, whatever, there are always going to be people who will project onto you because they do not have the balls to do what you're doing. Whether it's a weight loss journey, whether it's a career journey, whatever it is.
I definitely think that, yeah, like you said, in anything that you do, there's always going to be someone who's quote unquote jealous of you, whether they know it or not. And then their projections are going to be their thoughts, and they're going to put that onto you.
Absolutely.
But then, so coming back to that, so you were saying you don't feel any pressure from social media, but you're probably one person I know that has had probably the most hate videos made about them, which is as your friend, they're the funniest things ever.
Oh, it's
because
hilarious.
I know that like it doesn't affect you to any extent. But do you feel like people putting those projections onto you, where do you think that kind of comes from on their behalf? Like, do you feel like they're putting that out there because they're jealous of the success that you've had? Or
they're just weak little pieces of shit out of the sewer, aren't they?
for people who don't know what we're talking
That's
about,
my story.
for people who don't know what we're talking about, she had a video. This guy made 2 videos about you?
Yeah, so there was this fake Instagram account, and this is like everyone's fear, right? Like, you know, people want to put themselves out on social media, whether it's to build a business, whether it's to just like document their health and fitness journey, but like their biggest fear is copping hate. So this is how you can just hopefully dissolve this fear if you guys are listening and you do have that. First thing to know is like, if you're doing anything in your life, somebody is going to have some sort of judgment on you. Second thing to know is like, you didn't die, right? So I'm very big on like, if you feel the fear, do it anyway and prove to yourself that the worst thing that happens is I didn't die, we're all good, right? So this was ages ago, maybe like 12 months ago, 6 months ago, I can't remember. I had these 2 hate videos made of me. So some random man I've never met before trains at my gym, literally never seen this guy in my life.
The fact that he trains at your gym, wild to me.
A loser, like actual loser energy. Anyways, he made 2 hate videos of me, pretty much ripping my business, ripping the way I look, like everything you can think of, just like absolutely going hard on who I was. It was a faceless account though, but then we found out who it actually was, which is so embarrassing for him. But yeah, I just have never, I think the thing for me is like, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I've just never cared what people have thought of me. I was raised by Andrew Morris, my dad, who is just, he's just always instilled in me from a kid, like you can do anything that you want, go hard, don't let anyone stop you. If someone doesn't like you, that's none of your business. Like that's just the kind of mentality that I was brought up in.
Yeah.
Super, super privileged to have that, obviously.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I've just always kind of gone through life not really caring about what people think of me ever.
Yeah. You're very much my like fuck the system friend.
Yeah. And I also just think like I stay in my own lane, right? So like even the question circling back to, do you feel like pressure from social media to look a certain way? It's like, I just have never had that pressure because I just don't care about it.
Yeah.
Like I've never fallen into, ever really thinking about it because I'm just like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm sitting in my own lane. People who like me, people who don't. That's none of my business.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's really, as someone who obviously is super close with you and sees both sides of your online presence life and your real life, you're the same fucking person.
Literally.
And I think
that's the biggest compliment. Thank you.
You're so welcome. But like, I think as well, if you were showing up online as someone else, you would have people in your world being like, what are you doing?
Oh,
And I know all our closest circle would probably have the same thing in the sense of like our closest circle, bro, this is my circle. My closest straight line, there would definitely be people being like, okay, well, that's not you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who are you trying to impress? What's going on then? Like kind of step me back down to reality. And I think that for you as well, like I definitely can say that that is a true answer because I've seen that and you actually don't let other people dictate that. It's definitely a quality that I admire about you.
Thank you. That's
This is
so
just a
nice.
compliment Kate sandwich.
Yeah, you know what's funny? My mum and dad always joke that I was just like born not giving a fuck. Like that's like my family joke is like Kate just doesn't give a fuck. I was just born giving no fucks. And that's just how I live my life. I don't know why. I've just always been like that.
But I feel like it's also not a bad thing.
No, I love it.
It's probably, in my opinion, if there was like one thing, I mean, we're going to talk about this later, but like if there's definitely one thing about you, it's that you just don't care what anyone thinks of you. And you're going to be Kate, you're going to do you, you're going to progress and move and grow and be successful and do all of these things, regardless of what little Sally over there says about you. Like,
actually, before we started recording, Alex said, if you don't have haters and people are not talking about you, you're not doing something right.
this is producer Alex, not my husband Alex.
Yeah, producer Alex said. And
my fact checker Alex.
Yeah, fact checker Alex. And it's so true, right? Like
100%.
if you don't have people talking about you, if you don't have somebody that doesn't like you, you're clearly not doing something right.
Okay, guys, if you have hate comments of me, please go and comment. I've never received a hate comment.
To be honest, I actually don't get a lot of hate. The only hate I've really gotten is those 2 videos.
Yeah.
And either then if I ever post anything about like business growth or whatever, it's always just men in my comments being like, why would you post that?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know the only hate comment I have ever received, which is like not even a hate comment. It was when I put up an anonymous thing and someone was like, you've gained a bit of weight. And that was post competing. Like, I don't know if it was a comment or it was just like a observation or what, like.
Well, you're like, of course I gained weight because I'm not in competition prep anymore.
Yeah. But now I'm like, I want to hate you comment. Someone hate on me, please. Like,
no, don't, because then I have to drive to their house if they do
and
that.
I'm also not as like no fucks given as you. Like, I'm a sensitive little gal. Like,
we're not hating on Georgia. Georgia's the best.
Thank you.
Don't do that or I'll come for blood.
Kate will egg you and egg your car and yeah. So this is then also comes into you are very much yourself in real life as you are online, but I feel like also people's perception of you is different person to person. I've received different like judgments of you, good and I don't want to say bad, but just like not what I would.
Observations. Yeah.
What is one thing that you wish people understood about you that you don't really talk about or you don't really say out loud or whatever it is? If you've got more than one, give us. But like, what do you think the biggest judgment of you is?
I would say I'm very direct, right?
Mhm.
I'm very direct. I'm very open.
Can
I'm very
confirm.
honest. Just in like, that's just my natural mannerisms.
Yep.
I've always been very direct. I would say that people probably have a misconception that I'm not nice because I am direct. But I actually am, I would say, one of the nicest people I know. I feel like I'm very warm. I'm very kind. The people that I love, it's like I will give you anything.
Yeah.
Like you are my fucking people.
Yeah.
So probably just like my kindness and my niceness.
Do you also think that because you do so openly post about like your business success, people kind of put that into it? Like, again, this is a projection thing.
Yeah.
But do you feel like that kind of also gives people this judgment that you're not a nice person because you are an extremely successful businesswoman? Yeah,
absolutely. I feel like, but that's just like their wounds, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're like looking and seeing successful people as evil or whatever, it's like you've got work to do. That's not my work. That's your work.
Okay, so then if you're saying that your people's misjudgment of you is that you're super nice, how would you break that barrier with them?
Well, I think it's always just coming down to like you see somebody on social media and you make a perception or a judgment, right? Versus when someone meets me in person, the one thing I always get is like, oh my God, you're so lovely in person. Or you're taller than I expected.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, you're so tall.
You're so tall. It's either two, but it's like as soon as you meet me, you're like, yeah, cool.
She's a normal gal.
Yeah, she's cool.
I think that's something that we both have in common. It's like, I'll chat to anyone.
Yeah.
I'll be nice to anyone.
I'm a yapper. If you meet me in real life, good luck getting rid of me.
Why do you think we're half an hour into this podcast already and we've answered like 3 questions? We're yappers. But I think as well, it's like, it's such a positive quality to have in a person is just to be nice to everyone. And I'm not talking like this fake niceness of like, yeah, go girl, comment on my Instagram photo. You look great, bestie. Like, no, I'm talking like to generally be able to meet anyone in a cafe and have a conversation and be nice. And it's like that saying, how your friend treats the waiter, or like if you're on a date and they treat
Yeah.
the waiter badly, like that's actually a true representation
Of
of
who they
them.
are.
Like
Yeah.
my people who serve me are my like favorite people. They're bringing me food. They're bringing me coffee. Like, I'm sorry. Why would I ever be mean to you?
I'm like, you are actually, I'm in love with you.
They could spit in my food if I was
Still love
rude
you.
to them.
If I'm hangry, I love you so much.
Oh, that's so funny. So it's definitely that you think people don't think that you're a kind person.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you reckon? Do you think I'm nice?
I think
For
you're
the
lovely.
listeners?
I think you're a great gal. I think
Perfect.
as well, yeah. Look, I slid into your DMs asking for help. This is how we became friends. Backstory.
5 years ago.
Da-na-na-na. We're doing a flashback. That's my flashback music.
I love it.
But I slid into your DMs asking for business help. And this was before you were a business coach and business mentor. And
This is in 2020.
first year of COVID, yeah, when I started my business.
Early 2020.
Early
yeah.
2020,
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Probably like this time, 2020. Wow. Go us.
We should do like a little girls celebration for 5 years of friendship.
We definitely will be. So I slid into your DMs and like, hey, like I'm thinking of starting my business. Like I'm out of work. Gyms are closed, blah, blah, blah. SOS, help me. Kay was like, yeah, cool, no worries. What's your email? Sent her my email, not knowing what to expect. I think you sent me about 8 different documents.
To start your whole business online.
And you're like, here you go. Just put your name on everything and you'll be fine. And I was like, sorry. Like, so I think there's definitely like, you're a girl's girl and you're here to help and you're here to be nice and you're here to just offer like how you can help someone succeed, you're going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we do. I mean, I think we're both the same. I would say that any coach
You'd hope.
would be this, you would hope.
You would hope.
I mean, being in a service-based business, we're about serving other people.
Yeah.
And I just have this thing where I'm like, if I can help somebody change their life, whether it's through like building a business so they find more financial freedom or just freedom in general or success, whatever that looks like for them, or changing the way that they look, their relationship with food, building the body of their dreams, like I'm going to fucking do that. I will die on that hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. And I think I had this conversation as well in my last episode. It's like, it frustrates me so much when I see people in the service-based industry almost faking it. And it's like, do you actually want the success of other people? Or are you doing it because you
It's an
can
ego stroke for you. Yeah.
and you can make money from it, quote unquote, easily? And it's just like, oh, you little bitches.
Yeah. You know what I think? It's like any industry. There's always exceptionally good people at what they do. And then there's also cowboys, right? Always. These are the two things in any industry, whatever you do, right? Like I even speak to Armand about it. He's in the engineering world. There is incredibly great people and then there's cowboys that just talk the talk. But the cowboys always dwindle. So when you look at, you know, the coaching industry or you look at people potentially like not being authentic or whatever the story is, it's like those people will turn into dust. They'll dwindle away eventually and then you're left with the really great coaches, which is what you want to have access to anyways.
Yeah, definitely agree. There's definitely good and bad.
Yeah. In
And
every industry.
Every industry.
Yeah.
Okay, we're kind of going to transition now into a bit more of the best friend conversations.
Dun, da, da, da.
Or
This
is that
my
your best
favorite.
friend? What's your best friend music? Go.
I don't know.
I feel like I need to have a soundboard with different like
Yeah, with
pre-recorded
different
songs of me.
Yeah, I could think of a song.
What's the song?
It's called Too Cool. You guys need to look it up on Spotify. Too Cool to something.
Can
You'll
you,
find
like,
it. It's
sing
like
it for me.
nah, it's like a really like it's like a beat.
It's a bop.
Yeah.
It's a bop.
Yeah. Did I send it to
Yeah,
you? Yeah,
it's
I think
a pretty
I
cool
sent
song.
it. Yeah, it's a good song.
Okay, if you could spend one day in my life, what would you find interesting to do? And what do you think you'd love about being me? And what do you think you'd hate about being me? I'm going to answer this for you as well.
Okay. So first thing that I would love to do is just sleep anywhere and anywhere. Like whenever me and Georgia go away together, she'll put her head on the pillow and be dead asleep within 3 seconds.
If my arms go above my head,
You're
I'm
out.
out.
You're out. For me, it's like I've got to like really have my nighttime routine.
put her silk bonnet on.
Silk bonnet, eye level below lighting,
scroll.
reading my book. Like it's really like no phones. That's the energy for me where you're just like turn the light off, jump into bed, you're done. So I would love to be able to do that. The second thing I would like to do is if you guys don't know, Georgia is an incredible housewife.
Oh, okay.
She cooks, she cleans. I just don't have that wife material bone in my body. Now, don't get me wrong. I cook, Aman does the cleaning, right? But like, I just wish I loved it. I don't have the passion for it. I have the passion to build business and be career driven, where George is just like loves cooking and baking. So maybe I'd like to live in that spot
Okay.
to see if I could get the passion for it
I'm
because I don't
laughing.
have it.
Because I was like a few days ago, I was like, hey, let's make gingerbread men because you can make gingerbread men and I'll watch.
I was like, I can decorate
I
them,
just
but
wanna
you
do
do
it.
the baking part.
Okay, and what do you think you'd hate about being me?
I think I would hate the fact that you sleep until like 9:30.
It's not
I-
even late.
I'm up at 5 a.m. every
I
day,
could
so
never.
I couldn't do
My
that.
day would drag out too
And
long.
The other thing I'd probably hate is actually no, that's probably it.
No, go on, say it. You can't go back.
I was just going to say the fact that you don't read books very often because I'm like a massive book girly. Like I read a book
Yeah.
every day.
Look, I've been
Not one
trying to
whole book a day, but pages
I've been
of a
trying to
book.
read the third book in the ACOTAR series, and I've been reading that for literally majority of this like 2024,
Wow.
and I'm just, it's driving me mad.
Just finish it, hun.
Yeah. Okay. What would I love about you? What would I find interesting? I would love. This is going to be so rogue. I would love to have tits.
I mean, facts.
Like,
They're pretty good.
if I could pick a day, like if I'm picking a day to be Kate Morris, it will be a hot beach day
With the tits out.
with the tits out,
Yeah, fair.
my hair, like my long red hair curled,
Yeah.
and I would just walk up and down Port Melbourne in a bikini and have every single person stare at my tits. Because
You've got titties.
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I'm like an A.
Oh,
I've got
tiny. But that's
nothing.
still titty.
I want
We
like
don't discriminate.
tits. I don't want boobies.
Yeah.
I want tits.
Yeah, fair.
So that's probably the one thing I'd pick about you. I'd also love your bank account.
Fair.
Like I'd take that and go on like a full shopping spree. I feel like you really like this is a observation from best friend to best friend. You struggle to celebrate yourself.
Ugh.
I have no issue celebrating myself.
You're just like spend. Yeah, I've always struggled with that. You know what it is though? This is like a little segue. And Gemma, you know Gemma.
Yeah.
Everyone probably listening knows
If you're
Gemma.
under a rock, you don't get out of a rock. It's you know who Gemma is.
You know who Gemma is. She always says to me, she's like, you never celebrate how far you've come. I cannot see. I see the success that I've made, but I have a very hard time really seeing it clearly.
Yeah.
That's my work. That's my 2025 work.
Yeah. But that's definitely so I would take your titties
Yeah.
and I'd take your bank account.
Yeah, fair.
And then the things that I would hate, I feel like you're always busy though. Like I feel like you struggle. I don't know if it's like you just don't do it
Yeah.
or you don't have like your downtime where it's like you and Aman are just sitting on the couch. But I mean like Aman's always away working. He's going
Playing-
to hate that I say
Playing
that.
golf.
Playing golf, working.
Mm.
And I feel like you don't really have that downtime. But I mean, you probably do. You just, we're not texting when that happens. But
yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't love that. And I probably wouldn't love the 5 a.m. wake ups.
Yeah, fair.
Don't love that.
Yeah.
No need.
I have downtime, but it's like weekends. Like Monday to Friday, I'm
Yeah.
hustling, I'm grinding.
like I'm talking like 6 o'clock most nights. Alex and I like on the couch together, like
Oh,
cuddling
same.
cute.
Yeah, same. I have like very strict boundaries. I will work from 8 o'clock till 4:30.
Yep.
And then 4:30, Amand usually gets home around 5. We'll have dinner together. We'll be on the couch, no phones, watching a show.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so take
She's
that
got
one back.
boundaries.
Take that one back. It's just the 5 a.m. wake ups.
Yeah,
Everything
fair.
else, I'd love to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So this one's a really, I don't know if I'll probably have to go first for this one because you might have to think about your answer. But what is one thing that you think we've learned from each other in our 5 years of friendship that you don't think you would have learned on your own?
Oh.
It's a big question. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. Well, I think.
Because I wrote this question, I pre-thought about my answer. So
Yeah.
don't think that it just like jumped at me. But when I found this question, I like definitely took it with a lot of seriousness because I'm like, okay, there is a lot that I have learned from you. I've built my business from you. I have done all of these things in my life because you've been there to help me do that. But I think as well, something that I've really, really learned is to care less, like we were just talking about, just to care less about what other people think. I've definitely had a lot of projections made to me about my body and about how I look and about the industry I work in and all of these things. Not bullying, but just like foreshadowing like their thoughts onto me. And I think having you there, no matter how heavy I am, no matter how light I am, no matter what phase of my quote unquote competing era I'm in, all of these things, it's nothing has changed how you've treated me or how you've welcomed me or supported me or whatever. And I think like this is probably the first year I can confidently say I'm coming into this year actually not really caring about my weight or how I look. And I think that that's a really powerful like
Huge.
lesson that I probably would have at some point in my life come to, like probably like after kids, I think. But I think definitely that that's one thing that our friendship has really shown me, that it doesn't actually matter. Like, and I think I was focusing so much on it, but I think that that would have, I probably wouldn't have come to that this quickly on my own.
That is so nice.
Took me
That
5
makes
years
me
to
wanna
get there.
cry.
Don't cry, because if you cry, I'll cry, and we're not crying.
That's so nice for my little heart. That makes me so happy. I would say for you, repeat the question for me.
What's one thing you think you've learnt from our friendship over the last 5 years that you wouldn't have learnt on your own? What have I taught you?
What you have taught me is,
Have I taught you nothing?
I would say that you've taught me the value of a real friend.
Yeah.
Right? Like you show up for me regardless. If I'm having a shit one, you're there. If I'm having a good one, you're celebrating me. You never have any jealousy or negativity about something that I'm doing, but you also equally like keep me very grounded, very humble, and speak your truth. So if I do something that you don't like, you'll tell me. If I say something that you're like, oh no, actually, I don't agree with that, you'll say it. Where I feel like sometimes you get into friendships where they secretly hate you. Like, you know what I mean?
No, and I
Sometimes
like this
you'll have
is so
friends-
mind-blowing to me though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it so interesting that someone can invest their time, energy, effort, money into a friendship, but then like not want to celebrate you, not want to be there for your best and worst. And I'm like, I could, full honesty, I could be very easily jealous of you, your business, your success, your bank account, all of these things I could be so jealous of. But I'm like, what the fuck is that going to get me? Why wouldn't I want to actually be your number one supporter? Because, well, we both believe in karma very heavily.
Yeah.
But like, why would I waste my energy when I could be investing into all these other things and actually just be a really good supportive friend? And then that's how
Yeah.
definitely I am with a lot of my friendships. Like, whatever you're doing, whatever you're winning, your losses, all of these things, like I'm going to fucking be there.
Yeah. I'm a massive believer in like, obviously your environment matters, right? Like the people that you surround yourself with matters. You need to be surrounding yourself with people that challenge you. And I think you do challenge me. Like
I drive you nuts. If there's one
sometimes
person
you
who
annoy
tells me
me.
I piss them off probably every day, it's you.
oh, I'm thinking exactly that conversation we had. And I was like, you're like, something's happened. I'm like, of course something's happened. This is what I'm asking. And I was like, you're pissing me off. We
So
need
for
to not talk
context,
for a minute.
Kate sent me this post and she was like, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, I don't know, something's happened. And then to the next day we caught up. Kate told me that she was talking to our friend Mitch about me, being like, she fucking pissed me off. But we've had one fight. Oh, it
Have
wasn't
we had
even
a
a fight.
fight?
You were like just giving me like your answer, and I spiraled to Alex and I was like, babe, I think we're done.
Oh, I
Like-
fully forgot about that. That's how little I didn't even think of it. I fully forgot. Yeah.
Went to the point where you didn't think about it, and here I am full spiraling.
yeah.
Like, she
And then
hates
Alex
me.
was like, me and Alex, I'd say we're pretty close.
Yeah.
I saw that you guys like a couple of days after we had that conversation. And Alex goes, oh, Kate, next time you tell George something, can you just do it in person? Because she was spiraling for like fucking 3 hours. I was like, oh, I was fine.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. So please don't ever do that again.
Love ya.
Okay. Well, we've got our last little segment. Do you want to think of a little tune jingle for this one? The top 3 segment, I'm calling it. Da, 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 da. So what we need to do is we're both going to answer these.
Okay.
The top 3 things for each of these little like subheadings is going to be the answer.
Okay.
But we can like obviously like expand and things like that. So what are the top 3 qualities we admire about each other? It's a very lovely episode, but like, let's do it.
Are we in love?
Are we?
I think so.
Should we kiss?
Yeah. Say again.
Top 3 qualities we admire about each other.
Top 3 qualities we admire about each other. I would say for you, your generosity. Like you're very generous with your time. Like if I come to your house, you're always feeding me. Like just like very generous person. I would say your ability to form connections is something that I really like. Like when you meet somebody, like you are like fully adopted into all of my friendship groups. and like you just like build a connection
Yeah.
and you become really good friends with them, and it's great. And I would say the third one would be probably like your warmth. Like I feel like when we first started hanging out, it was just like you just adopted me.
Yeah.
Like I'm friends with your sisters. Like it's just like an adoption process.
I signed the papers and everything.
Yeah.
Mine for you would definitely be, I don't want to say this just because it's tattooed on you, but your resilience. But like you definitely, nothing will stop you. If you want to do something, it's going to get done. I also think your ability to learn and really understand new ways of thinking, new ways of coaching, new ways of building a business, I think that's really cool. Like I definitely am not a great learner and it takes me a lot longer, but I think that's something that I really admire. And then I want to also say like your aura.
Oh.
I think you just have this really like strong, confident aura. And I think that that's really something that I admire.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Now, flip it over. What are the top 3 things you would change about me?
It's like we're like it's like complimenting sandwiches. It's like we give a compliment.
That we hate and
some
then we're
sort
going
of
to fall
like
in love again.
hecticness, and then we fall in love, and then she tries and kisses me off camera. So the 3 things that I would change about you, yeah? Okay, number 1.
I don't know what you're going to say, and
they're
I'm
all
nervous.
They're funny. They're funny ones. Because I actually wouldn't change anything about you, like your fundamental personalities and qualities. I wouldn't change anything about you because I wouldn't be your friend if I wanted to change all of these things about
good,
you,
because
right?
I'm really struggling to. I've got 1.
I've got maybe 2, but let's just see how it unfolds.
I've got 1. I've got 2.
Let's just see how it unfolds.
Okay, go.
First one is your storytelling. Your ability, it's like Chinese whispers. If you tell Georgia a story and she retells the story, she'll add some spice and some flavor. I remember one time we were talking about like one of Alex's friends or something. I don't even know who it was at the time. And she was like, yeah, he like fell down the stairs, broke his knee, snapped his ankle. And Alex was like, no, he didn't. And you're like, nah, he did. And he's like, nah, he just like tore a ligament. And you were like, oh yeah, whatever. Broke his ankle. It doesn't matter.
Number 1 compliment I remember from high school. I had one of my teachers tell me I had a really vivid imagination.
Yeah.
And to this day, it is probably one of the best compliments. And I'm like, I actually can fucking make up a story.
You should be an author.
I reckon I need to write a book.
Fuck coaching.
Screw coaching. I reckon I'd be the next Colleen Hoover.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine?
New York Times bestseller. Georgia Cap.
Sunny.
Perfect. But yeah, I would say your ability to storytell is just like Chinese whispers. Like I know when you're telling me a story, I'm like, there's a little bit of mayo on that. And it's not like you're like making it.
I'm just emphasizing points.
But it's not like you're trying to like lie about it or make it better. It's just like you just hear it differently. Like someone will tell you, you're like, broken tendon, snapped ankle, broken knee. Like that's just how you hear the story, right? What would you change about me? Let's go 1 for 1.
Do you want to know what I would change you?
Oh, I already know what.
What do you think it's going to be?
My patience.
I was literally about to say your patience.
I know. I've got no patience in the world.
But like, it's to the point where like, we're getting in the car, and I'm not someone who like get in the car and do all the things straight away. Kate's like, come on, turn the aircon on, turn the aircon on, come on. Or like if we're like getting up in the morning, we go away for New Year's. Georgia, get up, come on, let's go get dressed. We're gonna go get.
Yeah, we're gonna get a coffee. Let's go.
There's not a moment for Lee to be like, I'm just going to exist here for like a second and then move. It's let's go, let's hustle, let's go.
Yeah.
That would probably be my first thing that I change.
Do you want to know why I have no patience? And I fully came to this conclusion like a year ago. Is because one of my biggest fears, other than dead animals and taxidermy.
I'm
terrified.
I'm buying you taxidermy for your birthday.
No, don't. Terrified. I have full trauma. Like if you ask my mum about it, traumatized. And I went to Melbourne Museum, taxidermy room.
Saw Far Lap.
Taxidermy room, saw stars, had to leave, thought I was going to pass out. Can't do it. The other thing that I'm afraid of is running out of time. So I always live my life on like, oh my God, there's not enough hours in the day, which is so bad. Like relax, you're fine. But that's how I live my life. So I'm not patient, and I've got the word patience tattooed right on my arm so I can see it every day, and I still don't have any of it. So yeah, great.
So it was a pointless tattoo. Just laser it off.
Get it.
Okay.
Cut it out of my skin.
Next thing you change about
what
me.
else would I change about you?
Josh, you thought of something. I just looked up and saw your face look at me like,
I would say you're very trusting
Yeah, okay.
and almost, I don't want to say the word gullible because I don't think you're gullible, but like you're very trusting in people that I see who they really are very quickly. The one thing that you guys need to know about me is I'm tooting my own horn here for a second. Let me have a big head, okay? I am an incredibly good judge of character.
Mhm.
I will meet someone within 2 seconds. I will assess their body language. I'll assess their tone of voice. I can tell whether you're lying to me. I can tell exactly who you are within like 2 seconds of meeting you. It is my hidden talent and I've had it my whole life. Even my mum, my dad, Aman says it all the time. I will make like an assumption or an observation on someone and it
you're
will
right.
always be right.
And
Right?
I like to think that that's not true because every time you say it, up until we had our recent quote unquote fight where Sparrow and Kate was like, "Wee, wee, wee," I didn't listen, and now
Yeah.
I listen.
Yeah. So I just think that you're maybe too trusting.
I think I'm very much like, I like to think that everyone is, again, this is me going to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but as good a person as I am, like no one actually is
Oh,
out
and-
there to like hurt people.
No, and that's the way you want to live. And I live like that too. Like I don't ever look at someone and go like, you're evil, but I'll just be probably more reserved versus being like, oh my God, like I can't wait to like hang out with this person and do everything. I'm kind of like, oh, like we'll hang out a couple of times, we'll see the vibe and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Now I need to think of another thing.
Another one for me. What else would you change?
I'd make you shorter. And I know that you
Really?
love your height, but I feel like every time we're together, I feel like I'm about to turn 28 and I feel like I'm 7
Oh, really?
because I just feel like a little girl.
I'm just a unit.
You're a fucking jacked little
You know what? I used to
queen.
hate my height my whole life. I hated my height. And like in the last 5 years, I'm just like, I am a gazelle.
I'm a goddess.
A tall gazelle. It's fun.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd change? This one's a
Third
hard
thing-
one.
Yeah, it is. The third thing I change about you,
I know my third thing, but it's not like a quality.
you need to listen more. Yeah. Yeah, that would be it.
Mine would be
Listening.
where you live. I'd make you live closer to me.
Oh, yeah, fair.
I hate that I have to pay tolls to get to you.
Do you pay tolls to get to me?
Oh, yeah. Let's not
Oh.
even get into that.
We'll talk about that another time.
What are your top 3 goals for 2025?
It's so interesting, right? This year I've taken the approach of, oh, actually, that's a New Year's resolution question. I just did not listen. I'm me telling you, you need to listen, and I didn't listen.
Go, top 3 goals.
Top 3 goals would be, I don't know, I feel like I'm approaching this year a lot differently, right? Because I usually set really big goals. And like, don't get me wrong, I love having a goal and I love being goal oriented. But this year I'm approaching 2025 with, instead of setting a list of goals that I want to achieve, I'm going to set a list of things I no longer want to do.
Yep, okay. Which is
So-
the next question, but like,
Whether this is excuses as to skipping the gym, whether it is excuses as to eating poorly, like whatever the story is, it's going to be a list of things that I no longer want to do.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess that would just like be in line with us eventually. I just want to make $1 million in my business. That's the 2025 goal.
Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Are we going to throw a party when it happens?
Yeah.
How will you celebrate yourself when it happens?
I don't know.
I won't. I'll go for 2 million. Ugh, I roll. Mine.
Oh, and another goal is, sorry, I want to travel. We're going to Japan in April and I want to do Europe as well. Yeah.
Fun. My goals for 2025 will probably be this podcast. I really want to grow this podcast. I really want to commit to weekly episodes for as long as I can. That to me looks like probably up until September, which is really cool. Get some really cool guests on. I've got some really cool guests coming up, which I'll tell you about later because they're really freaking sick. And then also within my coaching business, I want to increase my annual revenue in that business significantly, which is going to happen. Otherwise, I won't be here next year. No, I'm joking. What are 3 things, or what are some things? I feel like 3 things is a lot, but what have we left in 2024? Definitely my excuses. See you later. They're gone. They're not here with me now.
Nah, no excuses. I think for me, what I'm leaving in 2024 is not, I would say probably not celebrating myself. 2025, I want to celebrate myself more, whether that's with like, you know, just like actually celebrating myself internally or like booking a holiday and like having something significant to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I would say excuses as well.
Definitely excuses for
Playing
me.
small kind of energy.
Yep. And I think as well, I've mentioned this to you before when you did your previous event that I came to, I went into that thinking that I was going to be a really big small fish in a big sea.
Mm.
And I actually realized that like, I'm not a tadpole. And I'm more so like, I'm not like a whale because a whale is like the biggest thing. Like what's in between a tadpole and a whale?
Just like
Nemo.
Like a little dolphin.
Yeah, okay. I could be a dolphin.
Yeah, cute. I feel like that event was like
quite iconic.
For both of us.
Yeah, like it definitely allowed me to realize that like I'm not this little tadpole in this big ocean, and I'm just like, okay, like I can actually, what I've been saying I've wanted to do for so long, I can actually do it. And I think it's now I've got the belief in myself, which obviously is going to take time. Like it took me 5 years to get really good at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I've been doing one thing for 5 years. I'm not swayed into all these other bullshit little things. I've done one
You've
thing
mastered your art.
for 5 years, and now I'm ready to be like, we're going from here to here, and it's going to be fucking sick.
Yeah.
That's probably, so the excuses in that sense. The lack of self-belief that I have as well is staying in 2024.
Love that.
And allowing people to make excuses around me and like not holding them accountable for their shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's done.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is the top thing? If you don't say the answer that I'm thinking, I'm going to like throw my laptop at you.
Oh, okay. I'm scared.
No, that was really aggressive. I'm really sorry.
Make sure you break my nose though.
Sure. I'm not paying for it. What are the top things you're excited for in 2025 outside of business?
Oh, I wasn't even going to say anything business.
Good, because I'm trying to prompt you to say what I want you to say, but
I don't know what you want me to say.
Me pointing to the rings on my finger.
Oh, getting married.
Yeah, can you?
I don't think we're going to get married this year.
Oh, brother.
It'll have to. Well, we've just left it too late.
Yeah.
So like when you're booking a wedding or doing anything, and like even if it's like a courthouse thing, you need to do it at least 6 months to 12 months in advance. And we still can't agree on what we want to do. Like we wanted to go to Italy, we wanted to elope. Then we thought, no, we'll go to Italy, we'll bring our family and friends there. And then we're like, no, we'll get married in Australia, because then like people who can't travel long distances, like Aman's grandma lives in New Zealand and like she's getting elderly and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. We can't agree on what we want to do.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think the main things that I am excited about for this year is traveling.
Yep.
I really, like I said, I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Europe. I'm excited for that. I would also say that I'm excited for, I don't know, just like more downtime.
Yep.
And like enjoying traveling and everything.
Yeah. So
like
actually,
living life. I'm excited to live life.
That was actually a really big thing that I put. So I made my vision board for the year, and definitely just being like one of the photos I put up was like playing Twister with my friends. Like I just want to be really present and really like slow, but also when it's time to work, it's time to fucking send it and grow and hustle and just have that really nice harmony of the both. That's definitely something I'm excited for. And then also I'm going to win my show in September. You heard it here first.
Oh, maybe I should come to America.
To Texas, baby. Yeah. And then hopefully by the end of the year, there's some exciting things in my life.
But we're not going to say it.
Because if it doesn't happen, I feel like that's
yeah,
quite sad.
You'll just have to stay tuned into Georgia's life for the next 12 months.
Podcast will be the first to know.
Exactly.
Well, that's it.
Thanks
that was
for
a good
having
episode.
me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for spending the morning with me. Happy 2025. Go slay, go thrive. Love you. Mwah. See you all next episode. Bye.